So, looking at Mr. Johnson's remarks at that Southside church, it's like a bold showcase of his administration's racial makeup, emphasizing that a majority of his top slots are held by black leaders.
Right. And he doesn't shy away from saying that critics, claim he only talks about hiring black people. But then he counters that by saying his people look out for everyone.
Exactly, and his point really is that his approach is all about like active diversity, but also about being generous to the community as a whole.
Yeah, interesting. And what's even more interesting is how the Justice Department jumped in with an inquiry, right? They're looking into whether Chicago might be deliberately engaging in discriminatory practices according to the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
Yes, and that inquiry hinges on whether qualified applicants are being refused purely based on race. But yeah, it's kind of murky because there isn't solid evidence provided on intentional bias, just this big claim.
That's a key point. What strikes me is the numbers comparison. Johnson noted that the previous regime had something like 70 to 75% white representation, while his is 45% black, 30% white, and 25% Latino. I mean, when you contrast that with the actual census, 28% black, 32% non-Latino white, 30% Latino, it really raises questions about proportional representation. And then, politically speaking, it's fascinating. On one hand, you've got the Trump administration potentially using this as ammunition in their DEI critiques, but on the other, Mr. Johnson's popularity has been tanking since 2023.
Exactly. His loss of approval, especially among black voters, 53% showing unfavorable views versus only 33% approval, is pretty dramatic, especially given that they were his solid base originally.
That's a hard hit. I do wonder if his strategy of hitting up neighborhood churches is genuine outreach or more of a political pivot to recapture lost support.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because while emphasizing diversity is a cornerstone for a progressive, it can also be seen as overly politicized if it doesn't go hand in hand with tangible policy improvements.
Yeah, exactly. And arguably, conservatives are already wary about so-called disparate impact claims when there isn't proof of outright discrimination, making the whole discussion even more complex.
Right, so in summary, Mr. Johnson's remarks, the DOJ investigation, the racial statistics, and his waning support all make for a layered debate about affirmative action, political theater, and the fine line between outreach and discrimination.